8. Under the sign of forgiveness, the guilty person is to be considered capable of something other than his offenses and his faults. Paul Ricoeur, Memory, History, Forgetting, page 493. The Two Gozilos. 28 April 2009, 8:58 a.m. 48 degrees, 35 minutes, 0.62 seconds north, 7 degrees, 44 minutes, 16.42 seconds east. Some guy in a fluorescent vest is watering the potted plants outside the hotel. He's got one heck of a contraption. A little three-wheeled golf cart, a huge barrel of water, and a long tube with a shower head. Don't worry about Henry, I say to Bruno. He has a motorcycle. That's what guys with motorcycles do. They go. By this point, Bruno and I are the only ones sitting in the sidewalk cafe. Where's that coffee? Did I ever even order it? Or in this case, says Bruno, they arrive. I turn around and look. 3 figures on motorcycles are coming over the bridge. One of them I recognize as Henry. The others, are those Vespas? The other 2 look like a man and a woman, all dressed in black and riding black motor scooters. Black helmets, black visors, black suits, black shirts, black shoes. They pull up right outside the cafe. The guy in the fluorescent vest gives them a dirty look. It doesn't seem like that's a legal place to park motorcycles, even scooters. But what the hell do I care? One of the scooter riders is definitely male, tall and athletic. The other is a small, feminine figure with an odd limping walk, one arm kind of shorter than the other. Who are these people? A mother-son scooter team? Then they take off their helmets, and I feel like an idiot. They're both men, both red-haired, both bearded. The tall one is young, with his hair pulled back in a ponytail. The small one, with the twisted arms and funny shoulders, is much older. His hair is thinning and his beard is wispy. As they approach our table, Bruno gets up and goes inside. Henry doesn't seem to notice. He never seems to notice Bruno, coming or going, absent or present. "Book a room for these guys," says Henry. "This is my cousin Gozilo and his nephew, Gozilo." Pleased to meet you," I say. Sit down. I was just ordering coffee." The young Gozilo says something in a language I don't understand, or even recognize. Dutch, maybe? Or Danish? "They're hungry," says Henry. "Take care of them." Then he hops on his bike and takes off. The 2 Gozilos sit down and look at me. "There's a server on duty," I say. I saw her before." The young one says something again in that language. What does Walloon sound like? The older Gozilo nods his head. Then it occurs to me. "Gozilo," I say. "Isn't that Latin for Godfrey or Gottfried?" "No," says the small, twisted man. "No, it is not." "I saw that name. I'm sure I did," I say. For some reason, now I'm talkative. I was looking at the Latin text of Lambert's Annals last week before I flew over here. Not that my Latin is any good. I barely made it through Caesar's Gallic Wars with an interlinear translation, and that was many years ago. But I found a copy of the Latin text, on the internet. My Latin isn't really quite that bad, but the line about the interlinear translation is my standard excuse when someone at the library wants me to translate something. No one gets the joke, except for a few oldsters who took required freshman Latin at Catholic high schools back in the 60s. By the time I found myself in a Latin class, a decade after the requirement had been abolished, we were all there voluntarily, a bunch of language geeks. But our teacher, Mr. Roth, would entertain us with stories of the legions of mediocre students from the bad old days, cribbing their daily assignments from dog-eared interlinears. He showed us a copy. It was disgusting. Not the translation, which was hilarious, but the physical book. It was the grossest thing we'd ever seen. But I don't explain all that to these guys. I just keep prattling on. So anyway, I say, I did some side-by-side comparisons with the translations, just to get a feel for the original, and I could swear I saw Gozilo dux Lotharingorum, in the part about the murder of Godfrey the Hunchback. Stony silence from both Gozilos. Well, I keep going. Maybe it's just a medieval Latin thing, an unusual spelling. Lambert himself is staying in this hotel. We could ask him. That's when the young red-haired guy leans forward and grabs my shirt. We are not named Godfrey, he says. Okay, I say, trying to breathe. I guess he speaks English after all. We are named Gozilo. Got that? Just Gozilo. I nod my head, and he lets go. The guy has really strong hands. Is he a gangster or something?